Good morning, students, and welcome to my class. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to complete and upload a lab. And I'm going to go over, here's our class. This is CIS136. You may be in a different class, but the same principles will apply even if you're not in CIS136, perhaps 101 instead. But I'm going to pick this one called Assignment, the Google Drive Folder Project. Okay? We're going to walk through this one. So I have set myself to act as a student at this point. So let's look at this. All right? So here's the assignment, the Google Drive Folder Project. Read and follow the instructions in the following URL. So if you click on this URL, it will bring up the instructions as to how to do this lab. When you're done, create a Google Doc, paste a link to your shared folder in the document. You're also going to put a screenshot in there, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. You'll be doing that a lot. Make sure you share this folder with wesley.dennison@vvc.edu and give this user edit permission for the folder. Then take a screenshot showing your work in the Google Drive with the folders created. Paste the screenshot in the Google Doc. Download the doc as a PDF and submit the PDF below. If you don't know how to take a screenshot, here's a link to a description of how you would create a screenshot. Now with Windows, it's actually very simple. I'm going to be using a Windows computer myself. If you look on a Windows computer, up by the F12 key, there's a key that says PRT-SCR typically. That stands for print screen. You just press that button. What will happen is when you do PRT-SCR, it will take a copy of that. It will take a picture of exactly what's on your screen. And as a computer teacher, it's hard for me to know what's on your screen unless you take a screenshot. But that way I can look at it and know you did exactly what I asked you to do. Then that puts that picture of the screen. You don't see anything happen, but it puts that picture of the screen onto what's called your clipboard. Now I'm sure you've already worked with what's called copy and paste. When you do copy and paste, you copy something, it copies it to the clipboard. Paste, when you use paste, it just goes and finds whatever's on the clipboard and puts it in wherever you're at. There's some other instructions here too, by the way. There's a way to do this where you can actually draw a rectangle just to get certain parts of your screen. Your Mac works similarly, except with a Mac, it's Command-Shift-3 gets you the whole screen. We'll just work with the whole screen for right now. Command-Shift-4 also does it where you can draw the rectangle. Here's Android. Here's iPhone. Chrome is noticeably different. The problem with Chrome is you can get the screen, but it doesn't necessarily save it. You may see it pop up down in the lower right corner. You may have to click on it to make it save. We're going to work with just Windows, which is just pressing the PRT-SCR button. And if you're working with a different operating system, most likely the Mac, especially if you're at the college, Command, Shift, hold those two down, and then hit the 3 button. It will do the same thing. That is mostly what you'll need to know. I do recommend you learning these other things, especially if you're working with a different system. Okay? Let's go back to our activity and take a look at it. All right. So here I am back in our activity. I'm going to click on this button. Now notice down here it says this is where we're going to turn it in for grading. Okay. Which I submitted one in an earlier video, and I'm going to have to come back to it. We'll deal with that in just a minute. Let's click on this. This will give us our instructions. So here's the instruction. Here's some instructions for the lab itself. Here's a link to GCF Learn Free, or GCF Global they call it now. And let's click on that. Click on it and you can bring it up. GCF Global is a computer site that gives you a lot of tutorials. I highly recommend you going here to learn stuff. We will use quite a bit of this. We will use certain amounts of this for you learning learning the internet, because it has an extensive section on the internet itself. Here's a whole thing on Google Docs. If you go back to overall tutorial, here's a whole thing on Google Drives. Okay, and you will also see there's a lot of other subjects here you can look at. Later you'll be working with the internet in general. So here's stuff on the internet, which you'll go through a fair amount of this. I would recommend, as you have time, just take time and go over all of this. You'll learn a lot at this site, GCF Global. All right. Anyway, let's look at what we're doing here. Here's how it's going to be graded. But scroll down with your mouse wheel. So to do this, open your browser. I highly recommend using Chrome. This is much easier to do in Chrome than some of the other browsers, and Chrome is what you're going to see me walking through it with. So what you're going to do is, if you are logged on a Gmail account, which your student accounts should be Gmail related, okay, then you will see when you go to Google. I'm going to open another tab here. So I click on New Tab, and I'm going to go to Google. If you're not sure if you're in the right place or not, go to Google, and you'll see up in the upper right-hand corner your Google account. It will tell you what account you're using. Right now I'm using my own personal account. It's called FamilyDen@gmail.com. My last name's Dennison, and I have a family, so I chose that. You can change to a different one up here if you need to. Here's your Gmail right here. Getting images. This little tic-tac-toe board, it looks like, we call it the waffle, okay, as opposed to the 3 up and down, which we sometimes call the hot dog. And sometimes this is called the hamburger, but I tend to call it the waffle because I like waffles. If you click on that, it gives you access to all of the Google stuff that Google gives you. Gmail, your own account, search functions, Meetup, Maps. We're going to look at Drive. So find this. If you need to, go to google.com, click on the waffle, and go to Drive. Now here's your Google Drive. This is my Google Drive, and I've got a fair amount of stuff in it, stuff I've worked with just recently even. Okay. So let's see what we're going to do in the Google Drive. Now, anything in the Google Drive is just your little place to save stuff, and you're going to use this a lot for this class. So I'm going to go back to our instructions. Here we have the Google Drive. So you're going to go to Create, or where it says New up at the top, and you're going to create a new folder. Okay? Name it your name, and then the name of this course. So I'll walk you through this. Just click on New. Go down to New Folder. And I will name it Wes Dennison CIS136. Okay. Notice it shows up. Comes up on top because I've made it the most recently. If I open it, there's nothing in it. If I go back, it takes me back to my folder menu. Okay, so once you have created that folder with your name, I want you to take that folder and I want you to share it with me. Okay, in fact, we're going to share it with 2 addresses just to make sure. All right, so Wesley Dennison at student.vbc.edu, or possibly Wesley Dennison at vbc.edu, since I own both of those. So look at this folder, scroll over to the other side, and you'll see several things here. You can download stuff in the folder, you can rename this folder, you can star it to make it easier to find. There's even more stuff here. But see, this looks like a little person with a plus mark. Click on that little person with a plus mark, and that's called the sharing. So we're going to share this folder with wesley.dennison@vvc.edu. Make sure it's set to editor. If it's set to editor, if need be, I can even add things to this folder if it helps you. Go ahead and type in here CIS136. Anything else that might be useful for me to know, like it might be that you're in the summer class. If you're in a different class, or you want to name it, just so I'll know who you are. Okay? And send that. And what that is going to do, it considers it a non-Google account right now. Don't worry about that. Just go ahead and share it anyway. Okay? And let's share it again, just to make sure, with wesley.dennison@student.vvc.edu. All right. Okay. Now let's move on. All right. So you have shared this, and they show you sharing from the side. You could also do that. It's a little easier, perhaps, to share it. I like the little guy with the plus mark. Now we're going to go inside, and we're going to create 3 new folders inside this folder called CIS 101 Labs, CIS 101 Research, and CIS 101 Web Page. So let's go do that. Go back to your Google Drive. Open up that folder by double-clicking on it. Now we're going to create a new folder. Call it, in this case, CIS136. The instructions were written for 101. That's fine. Labs. Create another one. CIS136 Research. And you'll be putting different things in these folders. And CIS 136 web page. We'll see about that later. All right. Now don't worry about sharing these, because these are already automatically shared with me because I have access to the folder itself. Okay. And I can go from the folder that's all in back to, see, here's the folder itself. If I can open that folder, I can open your the folders inside of it and see what you've got. So as you create labs, as you create web pages, research, whatever we do, and these will be used in the future, then I can go in and check these things. So if there's any question about whether you did a lab, you didn't turn it in by accident, I can go and look for it. Okay? So so here's what we're going to do. Here's the sharing, here's some links that will teach you more about the clipboard, some other things like that. Okay. And here's how I want you to indicate to me, so I will be able to grade this and give you points for it. We all want points. Okay. Let's go back to the folder itself. Here's the folder. See, I clicked on up there to get to it. And look under the share, and it shows who it's shared with. And down here it says copy link. So click on that copy link. Now what that is doing is it's creating a link to this little document, which a person can only use that if they have the rights to get there, to see this folder. So only you or I will be able to see it. It's very useful to know how to do this, because if you have files and you want to share them with somebody else, you can put them in your Google Drive, put them in a folder, share that folder with that person, send them a link, and then they can access the folders. Places where I've done that, my family went on a vacation a while back up to Alaska on a cruise, and we had some pictures I wanted to share to the rest of the family. So I created a folder called Alaska Cruise. I put the pictures in it, and I shared that folder with the other members of my family. One time my son was working. He works at Apple Valley as a computer teacher also, and he needed some things. So I made a folder. I put the things he needed that I had at home, put it into his a folder, shared the folder with him, and then he was able to get it at work without me having to drive it all the way out to him. Okay? So, now that we've done that, let's go back to the original assignment. Okay? And, oh, I'm sorry, go back to the drive. Here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and open up that folder and open up the labs folder. What we're going to do is we're going to create the lab for us to turn in. Now we want to create this as a Google Doc. So in this folder you see this along the top. It's called a breadcrumb, by the way. Remember Hansel and Gretel with the breadcrumbs trying to get back home? They left the trail of breadcrumbs to get back home. This is called a breadcrumb going across. So click on New. Go to Google Doc. Do you want to create it in the shared folder? It will automatically be shared. Yes, we want that. Here it is. So we need to give it a name. Now right now it's just called Untitled Document. So highlight that there and let's give it a name. CIS136. And let's call it the name of this assignment, which this assignment is called Google Drive Folder Project. So I'm going to highlight this, right click, and copy. Learn how to use your right click on a computer. It'll make things a lot easier for you. So I have right clicked to save that. So I can go right back here, right click and paste. And there it is. Now this file has a name. And I'm going to go back to that folder, okay? And I'm going to get that link back again. So I will copy this link again. Okay. Go back to my CIS136. Right click, go down to paste. And I don't actually need that installed. I'll just hit Control V because that also pastes things. I'll hit enter and see it turns it into a link automatically. If I click on that link, it will take me directly to your folder so I can find it easily. Alright? Now, I'm going to show you the next thing. So let's look at everything we did here. Going into my drive. If I go back to this main drive, see there? If I see this, I know you did all this correctly. If I can see your screen, but I can't because you're at home. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a screenshot. I'm on Windows, so I'm going to hit the print screen button up by the F12. If you're on a Mac, you would do Command Shift 3. Okay? Makes a screenshot. That screenshot is now saved onto the clipboard, and it has moved off that link that we had there just a minute ago. Okay? So I'm going to go back to my project here. I'm going to hit Control V and look at that there. Okay? You put a picture of this of the screen, so I can look at it and go, yeah, you did it right. Okay? So here's what I want you to do once you've created this and it's saved. So if I go back to that folder, see there? There it is right there. There's that file. Okay? I want you to save it as a PDF because PDFs work much better with our programs than anything else. So go to File and Download. I want you to download it as a PDF. See there? Not a Microsoft Word, not an open document, none of the others. Look for PDF. This is a special file format created specifically by Adobe, the same guys who wrote Photoshop. So it's a very good way to do it. So save it as a PDF document. Now you see right down here that it for Windows it tells me it saved it. Now let's look where it went. So I'll click on this arrow, show on folder. Well, where it's going to put it automatically is right here into the downloads folder, which the downloads folder is always easy to find when you're doing things on your computer because it does it automatically. All right. It always comes up automatically to find the downloads folder. All right. So now we have saved this. We've saved it as a PDF. We've saved it into our download folder. So let's go back to the original assignment. So I clicked on the tab here, back to the original assignment. Okay, now I already had a submission, so I'm going to edit it. And well, let's see. Okay, I may change this to be a submit button because it could just be a submit button. We could hit it as submit, but let's do this. I'm going to go here and I'm going to put this picture right in here, and I'm going to go back to my folder and get that link back. Same way we did, just same thing we already did. And I'm going to paste that. I'm going to paste it right above here. So now I've got the link. I'm going to highlight this link. And I'm going to make sure it's going to work as a link and paste this URL again. So it'll make an easy link to work for me. Okay. I'm going to save that. If I had been in a different place, it probably would have asked me for a submit button. And let's see how that would work. I'll go ahead and do one just for you so you can see it. Let's find one that would use a submit button, and I'll show you how that works. So, but if you just see the online, if you just put, you will see a number of different types of labs and activities we're going to be doing. Okay. So, let me see. Let me find one I know is going to work the way I want it. Let's go down to this one. So I just set this one up. Web page. Now, anyway, if you see the submit button, what will happen is you can click on the area to submit, and you can go, you will see the possibility of the downloads folder, and you can find that particular file and click it as a download. All right. But at this point, let me show you what I will see. So I'm going to go back to being a teacher. Okay. And go back to this lab that we just did, the Google Drive folder project. And I see that one student has turned something in. I've got one student on the class right now. That's me. Okay. And I've turned it in. It needs grading. So when I click to grade, well, look at that right there. See? There's my link right there. I can check it. There's a picture from the online, and you can even write me a note if you wanted to. So in this online here, that little thing, you can write me a note in case you had any questions. But see, I can click on that link. It takes me to the Google Drive. I can check that, and then I can see the screenshot of what you're seeing. Most of your labs, this is the way it's going to be turned in, and I'll try to do some other ones for you before all is said and done. All right. Okay, thank you for listening, and I will upload this and have it available to all students.